You finally have the funding, 50K, 100K, or maybe even more at 0% interest for the next 12 to 18 months. The truth is that a lot of people who are new to funding end up blowing the money within the first 90 days. But it really doesn't have to be this way. And something that we always do with our clients specifically is we always will do a post-funding call. So we'll always sit down with you and make sure that you have the tools, the resources, and a plan in order to execute on what you want to do with the money. But you know, sometimes there's still also some people who want to take certain risks or go outside the plan, and they can end up putting themselves in a tough spot. But if you want this money to multiply and not disappear, I'm about to show you exactly what to avoid so you don't waste your opportunity. So with that being said, let's jump into it. So if you don't know me, I'm Jalil Nash, and I help entrepreneurs secure funding, learn financial literacy, and actually use the funding that they get approved for the right way. Today, we're talking about what not to do after you get funded. And honestly, this one video alone can save you tens of thousands of dollars and years of setback. So the first lesson I want you guys to grasp is that this money that you get on the first round of funding is just seed capital. It's not a payday. So I want you to understand that getting approved for 50,000, 100,000, yes, it's a great accomplishment, but it's not a flex. Like I said, it's seed capital. You can leverage this first round of funding to access even more capital by maybe using some of that money to start new banking relationships with other banks. So that way you can get access to more money at those other institutions. Or you can attempt to use it to start growing your business and getting it to at least your first 6 figures or multiple 6 figures a year. But the point of this money is to plant the seed of your business, not to fund a lifestyle. So if you're just starting out, this money will be very helpful to you, especially when getting to your first 6 figures. But what gets you to 6 figures is definitely what get you to 7 figures. But if you blow the bag now, you're done. But if you steward this money properly, it can fund a real empire. The second lesson is make sure to continue to keep your personal credit clean. So after just getting approved, the last thing you want to do is mess up your personal credit. So in order to protect it, some best practices are not applying for any new personal cards, ensuring that you request credit limit increases every 3 to 6 months on the cards that you already have, and keep all of your personal cards and any loans that you have on your personal credit on auto pay for at least the minimum, so that way you never have any late payments. And a little hack is that if you are spending money on a credit card on the personal side, I highly recommend using a charge card like the American Express Platinum or the American Express Gold card, because that spend won't affect your utilization, since those cards are not technically credit cards, they're charge cards. So that means that you're supposed to pay them off every 30 days. And also there's usually no preset limit on the cards either. And so that won't end up affecting your utilization, because if your utilization spikes, your score is going to tank, and then you won't be able to access any more funding until you pay it down. So just keep it paid down at all times. My third tip is only use half of what you're approved for, because you don't want to become over leveraged. So if you're approved for $100,000, I recommend do not spend all of it. Leverage no more than 50% of your available capital, because that'll give you some real breathing room. And another tip is that you can even set some of this funding aside, so that way you can cover the payments for the monthly bill that you get without having to come out of pocket. You basically can just use some of that funding. It can cover the minimum payments on the card or credit line, and then you can use the rest of the capital to do what you want to do as far as executing on your game plan. But the key is that you always want the ability to move money around. Also the ability to cover balances and access new credit without having your initial credit lines maxed out. My next tip is do not invest in what you don't understand. And so remember, just because you have money doesn't mean that you're ready to invest. Don't just throw the money into Amazon automation, Airbnb, vending machines, or whatever else is trending if you don't understand the business model. And if you're brand new to entrepreneurship, your first investment should always be a mentor. Someone who's already made the mistakes that you're about to make. It can help shorten your learning curve. My next tip is keep all of your new credit lines on autopay and never miss any payments. At the very least, set all your cards on autopay for at least the minimum. Missing even one payment can take your credit score, and it can also ruin the relationship that you have with that bank, locking you out of future funding. Remember that funding is not a one-time thing. It's a continual process that is built upon relationships that you have with the banks. So protect that relationship at all costs, and they'll keep giving you money over and over and over again whenever you need it. My next tip is don't use business funding for personal expenses or for luxury items. I don't care how tempting it is. Don't use your business funding to buy clothes, vacations, or even that new Mercedes-Benz. This money should only go to assets, not liabilities. You want to focus on buying income, not status. So examples of this will be investing into skills, knowledge, hiring contractors, inventory, equipment, and anything else in your business that will make you money. And besides, all the money that you also spend in your business on actual business expenses is all tax deductible. Now, I'm not a tax expert, so I'm not going to get into tax strategies and all that, so consult with your CPA. But my point is that the smarter choices that you make with this money, the better financial position that you guys will end up being in. Remember, this is not play money, it's seed capital. So only plant it where it'll grow. My next tip is to invest with the intent of getting an ROI within 6 months. So when you do spend this capital, make sure it goes into things that can generate cash flow within 3 to 6 months. So examples of this would be a proven ad strategy, inventory for a product that already sells, and systems and automations to scale what's already working. But my point is don't gamble. Don't invest in things that maybe will give you a return. Be very intentional and surgical with where this money goes. And my final tip is make sure that you protect the bag and you multiply it. Remember that the same way that you will handle a large amount of credit is the same way that you will handle a large amount of cash. So if you can't responsibly handle large amounts of credit lines, chances are that you can't responsibly handle a large amount of cash. So be smart and make wise choices with this money, so that way you can multiply it and turn it into more and continue to access more capital and just kind of rinse and repeat that cycle. So the biggest takeaway I want you guys to get from this is that funding is fuel. If you use it right, it can launch your business to 6 and 7 figures. But if you use it wrong, it'll bury you in regret and debt. So drop a comment below if this video was helpful and let me know what your biggest takeaway was. And if you're ready to get a custom funding game plan for how to use business funding the right way, hit the link in the description and let's talk. So with that being said, my name is Jalil Nash, founder of JSN Funding Solutions, and I'll see you guys in the next video.